Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video series where I'm gonna be imagining myself pitching a better structured Wizarding World universe. Now, of course, the Wizarding World is Harry Potter's universe, and how I would go about structuring it is splitting it into phases. That's right. So, let's get in to phase one. Now, phase one, going with the Marvel thing, yeah, phase one would just be 7 seasons based on each of the 7 original books. 1 season per book, and that would be with each season chronicling a year in Harry Potter's life. So, obviously, you know what this would look like. It would just be this. Now, season 1 would be based on the first book in the series, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I'd imagine that the season would be 8 hour-long episodes, each splitting itself. Well, each telling multiple chapters. Yes, each telling multiple chapters of the story. So, with episode 1 chronicling from the beginning of the story, so chapter 1 up to chapter 4. I know, 4 chapters in an hour. Never mind that. Okay, episode 2 would chronicle from Harry going to Diagon Alley for the first time all the way up to the Sorting Hat. Episode 3 would chronicle Harry's first day of classes, so we get his day-to-day life at Hogwarts before the excitement starts to happen. And he lands himself a spot on the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Now, the mid-season finale would be number 4, and this would be where the Halloween portion of the story would take place, as well as Harry's first Quidditch match. Episode 5 would be the mid-season premiere, and this would be Harry's first Christmas at Hogwarts, and how he reacts to the Mirror of Erised. Episode 6, we get back into some Hogwarts classes and some more action. As the Golden Trio start to piece together the information about Nicholas Flamel and the Philosopher's Stone in order to go and try to save it. The episode would end at the start of Harry's second Quidditch match, which means episode 6 would pick up right into the action of the said Quidditch match against Hufflepuff this time. The first one's against Slytherin. And we get to see how all that plays out. Then episode 7. Well, okay, episode 7 would be the tail end chapters. So we go through the Forbidden Forest detention and meeting Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback. Not in that order, of course. And then episode 8, the season finale, would be the man with two faces and through the trap door. So them going through the trap door and getting past the obstacles, the devil's snare, the trolls already taken care of, the chess game, and the potions riddle. We're not going to leave that out this time. And for Harry's ultimate confrontation with Professor Quirrell, who has Voldemort sticking out the back of his head, where he saves the Philosopher's Stone. So, that's where season 1 would end. Now, season 2. Season 2 of Harry Potter series will be based on the second book, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and likewise will feature 8-hour-long episodes chronicling Harry's second year at Hogwarts, but starting, of course, with him back at the Dursleys for the summer, being told that he's going to be having to hide himself away and not make any noise. But before all that, it's his birthday, and the Dursleys are ignoring it for this business dinner that Uncle Vernon's been banging on about for 2 weeks. And basically, after being underfed and shoved upstairs, paying dearly for his little fun with Dudley, Harry is then warned by a house elf named Dobby not to return to Hogwarts this year, because there's a plot to make most terrible things happen. Now, all of this would be culminated in the season premiere. Episode 2 would be Ron, Fred and George rescuing Harry from the Dursleys after being locked and barred up, and being taken to the Burrow, where he meets Ginny Weasley and Arthur and Molly, Ron's parents. Ginny's the younger sister, by the way. And this would then chronicle Harry's whole whole month, if you will, with the Dursleys, and end with him popping out of the fireplace at Borgin and Burke in Diagon Alley. In Nocturne Alley, actually. Okay. So that would mean episode 3 would pick up right there with Harry being found in Nocturne Alley, and obviously not before seeing Lucius Malfoy and Borgin and Burke selling dark stuff, dark artifacts. So then we go through the Gilderoy Lockhart at Flourish and Blotts thing, and this episode would have to culminate in the fist fight between Arthur Weasley and Lucius Malfoy. Episode 4, we get into the mid-season we get into the mid-season finale. Now, oh dear. This is where a whole bunch of stuff's gonna have to happen. Starting, of course, with the Weasleys being late for the railway station. So it's the 1st of September now. The Weasleys are late for the railway station. And this is where we get the trouble of Ron and Harry not being able to make it onto platform 9 3/4 because the gateway's been sealed shut, and having to fly the Ford Anglia to Hogwarts, crashing, of course, into the Whomping Willow. And this would end with not Mr. Filch, but Professor Snape catching them. Episode 5. Now, this is the mid-season premiere, and it would have to begin with the whole herbology lesson and Gilderoy Lockhart fiasco. Before moving swiftly on to Ron's Howler and the whole thing with the Mudbloods and Murmurs and the Death Day party. So, cramming all of that in to one episode. How are they? Yeah, I haven't really thought that one through. Okay. Episode 6 would then pick up with the Writing on the Wall, which actually continues the Halloween chapters. And this would then lead into the first Quidditch match of this year against Slytherin. And them learning about the history of Hogwarts and its founders, and about the monster of Slytherin, questioning about who the heir of Slytherin is. And this is when students start turning up petrified, and Harry becomes accused, and there's a whole dueling club as well. All of that packed into an hour episode. Well, what a pitch. Okay. Now, we've done that as 6 episodes, I believe. So episode 7, this is where things would have to start winding down, but they'd have to do it pretty quickly, because we have Harry's second Christmas at Hogwarts packed into this episode, as well as the rest of the Quidditch season, Hagrid's arrest, them learning that he was actually innocent the whole time, so all the very secret diary stuff. Oh dear, oh dear. And it would have to end on a cliffhanger leading in to the final chapters, which will be covered in the season finale, episode 8. And this would see Ron and Harry forcing Gilderoy Lockhart to go with them down into the Chamber of Secrets to rescue Ginny, after learning it was she who was taken into the chamber. Wow, what a time. But I think I might have messed up that one. Let's hope I do better with The Prisoner of Azkaban. So that would be season 3. Season 3. The Battle for Time, as it says on the thumbnail there. This one will be based on the third book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, detailing Harry's third year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Once again, 8 episodes, each an hour or so long. but we had to pack a lot into these episodes to make it flow into the story. So, okay, let's get into it then. The first half of the season would chronicle from the beginning of that summer, which of course would be Harry's 13th birthday, all the way up to him arriving at the Leaky Cauldron. So that would be episodes 1 to 4. And the second half, episodes 5 to 8, will chronicle what happens to him over the course of that year at Hogwarts. From Sirius Black coming after him, as they think, all the way down to the whole time travel shenanigans to rescue Buckbeak and Sirius from their undesired fates, and their undeserved fates as well. Learning Professor Lupin's a werewolf. And of course, we have to learn who the Marauders are in this season. And it would also have to show Gryffindor winning the Quidditch Cup, with Oliver Wood achieving his dream. And it also would now have to culminate in the big Patronus endgame of the season. And how the Quidditch season at Hogwarts was messed up by the Slytherins, with obviously Gryffindor playing them in the championship game instead of the first match of the year. Okay, now I think doing it that way was much better. So on to season 4. Okay, season 4 of Harry Potter will be based on the 4th book in the mainline series in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, this is a 37 chapter long book. So, to fit 37 chapters into a season of television, we're going to have to extend the season's runtime. It can't be 8 episodes because it would be too heavily condensed that way. So, I propose a 13 episode season. Yeah, so 13 episodes for season 4. That's 13 episodes, each 45 minutes to an hour long. Maybe a bit longer for some episodes. And now, let's just get right into how this should be structured. The first... Whoa, the first 6 episodes would have to chronicle from Harry being... from the Riddle House, the very first chapter of the book, all the way up to Harry attending the Quidditch World Cup with the Weasleys and Hermione. So that'd be episodes 1 to 6, all the way up to that point. So before they get back to Hogwarts. Then episodes 7 to 13 would be chronicling everything from for when they first get back to the Burrow after the World Cup, to the rest of it after that, following the actual school year, the Tri-Wizard Tournament, with each task getting its own episode. Yeah, and the Yule Ball getting its own episode as well. And where I'd imagine this all falling into place, the first task would take place during episode 9. The Yule Ball would take place in between that in episode 10, the second task in episode 11, and the third in episode 12, with episode 13 being the season finale, just chronicling the last few chapters of the book, with Voldemort's return, Cedric dying and all that. So yeah, that's my pitch for season 4. On to season 5. Season 5 would be based on the 5th book in the series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And this book is 38 chapters long, so there's just no way around it. Even if they are 45 minutes to over an hour per episode, this season would have to be broken up into 16 episodes just to tell the whole story. And how do I propose doing that? Right, okay. The first half of the season would cover from chapter 1, Dudley Demented, all the way up to the beginning of the Hogwarts school year, which would be chapter 11 for the record. So the first 8 episodes would chronicle the first 11 chapters. From the Dementor attack in Privet Drive all the way up to, well, a bit past Dumbledore's welcome back speech. So nothing exciting happening there just yet. But the exciting things would now start to happen in the second half of the season. Episodes 9 to 16 would be the Hogwarts school year in motion. So we see a few classes going on for Harry, his detentions with Umbridge, him getting banned from Quidditch, him seeing into Voldemort's mind and being tricked into going to the Department of Mysteries to rescue Sirius, the actual battle in the Department of Mysteries between the Death Eaters, Dumbledore's army, and the Order of the Phoenix. Yeah, an action-packed season there. 38 chapters packed into 16 episodes. Because then that would all culminate in the Ministry realizing they were big idiots to disbelieve Harry and Dumbledore about Voldemort's return. Okay, so yes, because I'm not breaking it up into individual episodes anymore, I'm just doing it half by half. Let's get on to season 6. Season 6 would be based on the 6th book, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And how do we condense a 30-chapter book into a season of TV? How do we adapt that? Well, it's only 7 chapters shorter. than the Goblet of Fire. So I think we'll be able to fit this into a 10-episode season, and heck, it's my imaginary scenario. So if the episodes need to last longer than an hour, they can do. So 10 episodes for 30 chapters to be adapted. How do we do this? Well, the first half of the season will adapt the first half of the book. So the first 5 episodes will adapt the first 15 chapters, I'm saying here, all the way from The Other Minister, the opening chapter of the book, where the Prime Minister meets the Minister for Magic, all the way up to the beginning of the school year. No, sorry, all the way up to the mid-season finale, which in this case would be an excess of phlegm. So, no Hogwarts school year stuff here yet, but don't worry, because the second half of the season will chronicle the Hogwarts school year. But first, we need to go to Diagon Alley to pick up our new school books and visit Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, Fred and Georgie's joke shop, and stalk Draco to Nocturne Alley. But after all that, we get back to Hogwarts, where the school year goes in full swing. Harry becomes Professor Slughorn's favourite in potions class, and the famous book-only line will appear here. There's no need to call me Sir, Professor. But then the main story will also happen during this half, learning Voldemort's past through the pensive memories, and they will all be here. So every memory we read about in the books, from the House of Gaunt all the way up to Voldemort's or Lord Voldemort's last request, they will be adapted here. And of course, the whole adventure culminates in Harry and Dumbledore going to retrieve what they think is the Locket Horcrux. And it will culminate in Dumbledore's death. And what a bummer ending. But Dumbledore's funeral will be shown here in full. In fact, that's what episode 10 would be. The season finale would be Dumbledore's funeral. And we have established that Bill Weasley had become a werewolf during this season. I forgot. We would have met him already in season 4 at this point. Yeah, so that's season 6 in a nutshell. On to season 7. Season 7. This season will be based off the last book in the mainline Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And let's not beat around the bush. A 36 chapter book with an epilogue at the end of it. Okay, it's not going to be too hard to break up here, because the first half of the season and a bit will detail the Horcrux hunt. Obviously, what else is it going to chronicle apart from the, it will open with the Dark Lord Ascending chapter and go all the way up to the skirmish at Malfoy Manor. So basically, the film, but done as the first half of a TV season. So that would cover, as I said, the first half of the book. So the first 18 episodes then? Because that's the first 23 chapters of the book. The first half and a bit. Well, the remainder of the book would detail mainly the death. Well, it would mainly detail the Battle of Hogwarts, but before that, we cover the death of Dobby. God rest your soul, you sweet little house elf. And the break and the break in at Gringotts, and then we would go to the Battle of Hogwarts, where most of the action of the season would take place. And of course, we learn Professor Snape's whole backstory here with the Prince's Tale chapter, which would get an episode all to itself. Because it is all in the book, it is rich with context, that chapter. You know, that's Professor Snape's childhood and his friendship with Lily and so on. And of course, it would all culminate in the big end game of the Harry Potter series. And we all know what that is. Now, there have been spoilers through this whole video for those who haven't seen the series yet or read the books. But, hey, if you've chosen to watch the video, it's all on you. Okay. So, and that would be Voldemort's death. Which won't be in the courtyard away from everybody. And he won't disintegrate like a divine being either. It'll happen, as it does in the book, in the Great Hall. In front of everybody. And he'll die as an ordinary man. Yeah. And then, the very end of the episode, the very end of this season, and this phase, will obviously be the epilogue, 19 years later, with the new generation of kids going off to Hogwarts. And all is well. So, that would be phase 1 of my pitch for a perfect Wizarding World franchise. Yeah, phase 2 will not cover Fantastic Beasts. At least not as a series of films, and just not yet. I'm retconning that to a later phase, and it'd be a standalone project. So, in the next part of this series, phase 2, will cover the first 3 spin-off ideas I have. And those would be all, well, why don't I just wait and tell you in the next part? Until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a magical time.